Welcome to the sixth edition of Imagine This, Women's International Film Festival. My name is Susie Francois, and I'm one of the co-founders of the festival. Welcome to Talkback 9. And we have some amazing filmmakers with us today, and we just want to welcome everyone. If everyone could just introduce themselves and tell us where you're tuning in from. Suzanne?
Sure, I'll start. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having us. I'm really excited to be a part of the festival. And I am Suzanne Lenz. I was the co-director, producer, and writer of Christmas Eve Eve, or The Things I Can't Remember. And I'm tuning in from Brooklyn, New York.
Nice. Dale?
I'm Dale Griffith-Stamos, and I wrote, directed, and produced the short film The Dinner Guest, which Molly will introduce herself as one of my actors in it. And I am hailing from Santa Barbara, California.
Oh, nice. Welcome. Molly?
Hi, I'm Molly Leland, and I am an actor in The Dinner Guest, and I am tuning in from downtown Manhattan in New York City.
Oh, nice. Dilara? And tell me if I'm pronouncing that wrong.
Yes, it's Dilara.
Dilara? Okay.
Dilara, yeah. And I am the director and co-executive producer of the short film Lissa, and I'm joining you guys from Los Angeles.
Oh, thank you. Welcome. And Treese?
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Antrese Lacey. I am the writer, director, and producer of the short film, The Color in Grief, and I am currently in New York.
Oh, great. Okay, we have Allison with us. Hi, Allison.
Hi. I am the director and producer of Girls Night In, and I am coming to you from Los Angeles.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for joining. So we're going to just jump right into it. If you guys can just tell us a little bit about your film, brief description. And again, we're going to start with Susan. And how did you also come up with the concept?
Sure. Yeah. So I was coming up, sorry. I came up with the concept because is very much based on my own life. And unfortunately, the film deals with a woman coming home for the holidays to Kentucky, which is where I'm from originally. And she has to confront this kind of unresolved family crisis in the form of her father, who is a pretty low functioning alcoholic and is dealing with a recent suicide of his younger brother. And I wanted to make the film because unfortunately, I do have a lot of family suicides. Two of my uncles and a grandfather killed themselves. And so it's something that's always kind of loomed large in my growing up. And it happened two before I was born, and one when I was pretty young. And so it's always kind of been in the background, but something that our family doesn't really talk very much about. And I've been an actor for a really long time, and I don't know, maybe it's the actor in me that wants to like share more. But I wanted to, make this story and talk about it. So that was the inspiration for making the film. And of course, as an actress too, I wanted to, write a story and a part for myself that was a little more meaty and interesting than maybe some of the parts that I tend to audition for when I'm out there in the real world of film and television. So yeah, that was the inspiration.
And if you can tell us, how did your family respond to the story?
It's interesting. I'm just now sharing it with people, which is fun. We made it right before COVID hit in February of 2020, which was very lucky for us that we were able to film it before everything kind of shut down. And we we worked on it, you know, in our little caves during COVID, and now that film festivals are back and we're able to, you know, share it again, I'm just now sharing it. So I actually don't really know what the response will be. To be honest, my mother knows about it, and she's been very supportive of the whole thing. My dad, however, has no idea that I even made the film.
Oh,
He's very much not online. And so he just, and I don't know how to tell him. So to be honest,
mm,
I'm really not sure, you know, what his response would be. And for the larger part of my family, I really don't know what the response would be. I haven't actually shared it with them yet.
okay.
So I'm just kind of getting to that point now where I think, oh, maybe I should share this, but I'm not sure what the response will be.
Okay. Did you find any kind of like healing from making the movie or watching it?
I truly did. Yeah, I thank you. Yeah, that's a really nice question. It has been a very, yeah, cathartic experience for me. I feel like in a way it was something that maybe I had to do to kind of move on from, you know, just to grow as a person and kind of accept all the things that had happened with our family. And it does feel like a bit of, yeah, taking control of the situation and saying, and making something, you know, good out of it. So yeah, it has been a very cathartic experience for me.
Okay. And Dale?
Yeah, Dinner Guest. The Dinner Guest started as a play. I've been a playwright for many years, and I had an evening of short plays called Thicker Than Water, which were about family in one way or another. And that play was included in that evening. And it is the story of a woman who invites her husband's mistress to dinner. Now, this originated with a story in my family about an aunt who had done just that, but I heard about it years later and there was no other information than that. So all I knew was that she had invited her husband's mistress to dinner. So the writer in me went, okay, why? You know, and what would emerge? And as I said, it started out as a play in which Molly, who is present here, and she and Juliana Robinson both starred. And they were so wonderful in the play that when I decided to produce it, to adapt it, produce and direct as a film, I brought the same two actresses on board, and I'm so glad I did because boy, did they do a great job. And so it is still that story, but strangely enough, on stage, it was almost like a farce. And the film version became much more serious. So there's something about that adaptation process that turned it still got moments of humor, but turned it much more into a drama. And I think that was all you needed to know.
Okay.
Susie?
If you can just share with us what the transition was like from stage to film.
Theater to film. Yeah, and it's interesting because I have 6 short films now, and they have all been adapted from plays. And so sometimes that adaptation is quite dramatic, where the story really just gets fragmented and changed. I have one film circulating right now called Dancing with Shadows, which really was just changed so much from the play. I think with The Dinner Guest, it was much more, as I said, about adapting to the fact that there was going to be cameras on the characters. We were going to be having close-ups. We were going to be having more intimate moments than you're able to do on a stage. And as such, I think that's why the story began to deepen for me, because I began to ask more questions about, you know, what's motivating these characters, what's happening, whereas the stage could just sort of be a farce and fun and people would laugh. But here I had to ask more serious questions. So the script itself evolved with that in mind, that there would be these more intimate moments. And then I found that then being able to direct the actors in those ways just really enhanced the story. I think it adapted well to film is what I'm saying.
Thank you. And Molly, if you can just tell us what your experience, what was it like for you?
So it's funny because, in terms of the tone of the piece, I
You may want
think
to speak
Dale,
up, Molly, because we're having a hard time hearing you speak.
yeah, maybe I will turn on my headset. I think it's Bluetooth and outside is a deadly combo.
Okay, can you guys hear me a little bit better
Okay,
now?
that's better. Thank you.
Okay, bear with me. The audio might be a little compromised, but yeah, I mean, essentially, Dale hit on a lot of similar experiences I had. When we performed the play as an actor, I felt like it was equally as deep, if that makes sense. The character felt the same sort of stakes of this is, her family, this is at a 10, this is life or death in terms of feeling like, am I going to experience the death of my family? So in that way, they were similar, but I think the stage allows for a little bit more like physical comedy, if that makes sense. And I think just by nature, if you're, working in close-ups, and I mean, when you're in film, it's a different process depending on, how it's being shot. And I think that sort of caused all of us to kind of lean into it in a different way tonally, if that makes sense. I know for me too, it's like, any project that I work on, I find great joy in obviously honoring the writing and the piece and the given circumstances of it, but also, paying attention to what's going on presently. And and Dale, I don't know if you know this, but going into the shoot, I had actually just found out some news that I was sort of working out emotionally. And not that I brought that to the piece, but I think that definitely for me ended up fueling some of the specific emotion behind it in my character's performance. And so I think, like any art, it's like, you are the writing, you are the character, and you're also what is currently present with you.
Mhm. Thank you. Delira?
So
Now I'm so sorry. Now I can't hear you.
Oh.
Okay, try that one more time.
Do you mind
Okay.
repeating that?
Oh, I was asking Delira to share her
Sorry.
story. No problem.
I didn't write Lissa. I wish our writer Aslı Gülerman could be here today, but she had a doctor's appointment, unfortunately. So we had this, Aslı had this idea to essentially make 3 different short films tackling different mental disorders. And this was the first one she wanted to write. We just basically wanted to make something to tackle the harmful stigma around maybe the most taboo mental disorder of them all, which is schizophrenia. And we just felt like mental disorders need better representation in the media, especially very taboo mental disorder like schizophrenia has been represented with, with little to no regard to authenticity, and it's almost like verging on offensive most of the time. So we wanted to show just regular people, a regular person going through this hard time in her life, and we wanted to write something that's going to make people who have schizophrenia maybe feel like less alone, that if they have any fears, that those fears are valid, but they can cope and essentially move on with their lives. And we wanted to create this basically social thriller, a drama with horror and thriller elements to show the real life horrors of a person going through this mental disorder, and and getting critics and maybe some people, people around them won't necessarily believe them all the time and won't be able to see past the mental disorder that they have, but these people don't need to be just crazy or or like monsters or anything other than just people we see every day on the streets, just regular people. So that's basically was one of the aspirations that we had for Lissa, and we just wanted to confront the audience members with their own fragility. Brain is a very fragile mental, our mental reality is a very fragile thing. So we wanted to confront the audience members with a story like this, keeping it very vague and almost asking the question to the audience, like, would you believe yourself in a situation like this? Or do you think this is real or not? Her mental disorder is evolving and getting worse and worse, but at the same time, there are other things going on in her daily life. So you cannot really be sure. And can you trust yourself as an audience member if you were in her shoes? So yeah, that was the aspiration. I'm sure Aslı will do even a better job explaining her aspirations, but that was the things that we were focusing on while we were developing the short film.
Oh, yeah. We don't see too many roles where you have women when it comes to dealing with that. And also, it's a very important subject. And, unfortunately, people have to deal with that. How did you guys go about doing research, if any, and what was it like?
Yeah, so we did a lot of research because we wanted to make sure that, representation was as authentic as possible. So we talked to some specialists who work with schizophrenia patients, and we just asked them a lot of questions. We also did a lot of research while Aslı was developing the script, just watching a lot of things and just researching a lot of things about the mental disorder itself. So I believe, I hope that we did a good enough job to show the little subtle things about schizophrenia that maybe like people who know people with schizophrenia or people who have schizophrenia will be able to tell that we showed those little things in the film, especially as her disorder progresses. You're able to see those things pop up more and more. And yeah, so it took us, so we started writing, Aslı started writing the script, and she was talking with me and our producer Amina while she was developing the script. And I believe she started, like she developed, she had the concept, she had the idea for a long time, for I think almost 2 years she had the idea. But when we started developing the script, we started around like early March of 2020, I believe, right after COVID hit, and we shot the film around October. So that whole like months of research went into developing the script.
Oh, okay. And have you received any feedback? If so, how has it been?
So we were actually very lucky in terms of our main actress, because Ashton, she was great even this wasn't the case, but while we were auditioning her, we actually learned that she has someone in her life that has schizophrenia. So she knows about it. And she gave us a lot of, she gave us her, some pointers, and she gave us her own ideas about like what's right and what's wrong, and if something is like, if she wanted to put something more in the forefront, she let us know about that, and we made sure that we put those in the script too. And yeah, I mean, so far this is the first time our film is being shown to anyone, so we didn't get a lot of feedback from any people with mental disorders per se, but hopefully we did a good enough job that
Of course.
they'll be happy with it. Yeah.
Yes. I watched the movie, and I think that it's a very important subject. And I think that people should, have more, it'll help people to have more of an understanding. And, a lot of times people don't understand what, people are going through with mental illness. So thank you so much for sharing your film with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for giving us a chance to show it.
Of course, of course. And Tracy, sorry if I'm butchering your name.
Antrice, it's fine. You just want like general information? Was that the question? Yeah.
Yes, if you could just tell us about your film and how did you come up with the concept?
Yeah. So The Color in Grief follows my main character, Amory Knight, through a therapy session. And during that therapy session, you get flashbacks to her junior year of prom with her and her best friend. So the story stems from my personal experience losing my best friend to suicide going into my junior year of college. And so senior year, when, we have to in order to graduate, I had to do my thesis film. I wanted to kind of just tell a story that I was scared to tell. I struggled with deciding to go to therapy to cope and deal with that loss. And, it's not really that talked about in the African American community with going to therapy. So I just wanted to, tell a story of, two friends and just showcase a beautiful friendship, and then coming to terms and accepting that when you do lose a loved one to suicide, there might not have been much that you could have said or done, and just like that internal process and battles that you do have to overcome when it is someone that you're super close to. So I just wanted to, put my little life a little bit to pen and paper and tell something I was scared to process and tell at that time.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, did you do any research? Because I see that I watched the film and you do have a psychiatrist that you have in the film. Did you do any research in that?
Yeah, so I took some of, my experience when I did go to therapy the year prior to writing the script, but I actually met a therapist, and it was such a touch of fate type of moment, because I was at an outdoor event and I was telling my friend how I was thinking about, doing this for my senior thesis. I wasn't too sure. And this really nice lady that we just happened to be sitting next to and connected with, I asked her what she did for a living, and she mentioned that she was a therapist. And I told her, I was like, oh, I might do this idea for my senior thesis. If I do, can I reach out to you on how to create authentic dialogue between, your patient and yourself in a sense? And she was like, yeah, just reach out to me whenever you can. And, 4 months later, I was able to send her, 2 drafts and get her critique and her feedback on what would be natural to say, and kind of what the thought process on their end is when, they are dealing with, different clients that are coming in for grief sessions in a sense. So yeah, it was really nice. I think it helped me tap into making sure I was doing authentic dialogue and wasn't just so like I don't know, sometimes you get some really cheesy therapy scenes and you can kind of tell like it was just because that's what they think a therapist does and they didn't really have any back thought to it. So I did value the fact that she did help me with that.
Okay, and what was the response like with the community having, because you touched base on, African Americans, they don't really seek help when they're going through, whether it's depression or mental issues.
Yeah, so I did get to do a little small screening with um, a one of my old bosses at my university. She moved to a different university, but she got in touch with some Black African American therapists within her counseling center, and she put on like this small program. So I actually was able to screen the film to them, and that was the general feedback that I got was like, oh, you did like such a great job presenting this, and the fact that you did do your casting the way you did. It was nice seeing us reflected in the therapist and also the person who was coming in seeking therapy, because we don't really get to see that often on screens. So I think the reception was pretty well with that group, and anyone else I've screened it to, definitely those who knew me and my best friend personally. They definitely had just comments on casting that it was really well done, and captured our friendship, even though I did tell a story that was more genuine to my characters. It was very much, they were like, yeah, you captured the essence of who she was as a person, so thank you for keeping her memory and bringing a part of her, who she was as a person, to that character, instead of completely just not depicting it correctly in a sense. So yeah.
No, thank you for sharing that. And Allie?
Hi. And
Hi.
your dog is so cute. I see your little puppy in the corner. I always love to look at everyone's animals when I'm on. So girls' night in, God, you all have such beautiful, like heartfelt stories, and mine is just complete satire. Girls' Night In is something my writing partner Landon LaRue wrote. She couldn't be with us today. She's a brilliant writer, very funny. We both the work that we both do. This was my first short film, or my first narrative film. Thanks. I'm a commercial and music video director primarily, and so COVID made us all try new things. So she and I have been working on a series for the past year about an ensemble of girls, and all of our work centers around female empowerment and empowering women, in front of and behind the screen. So she had this script, and she was so reluctant to show it to me. She's like, I don't know, I wrote this a long time ago. I don't know if you're gonna like it. We were just looking for a quarantine project to do, something to get everyone like working and having fun. And so I'm like, let me just see it, because I just thought that she maybe was doubting it a little bit. And I read it, and it was so funny. It was so funny, and it was so brilliant. And it's a short about that's based it's a satire based on the Bechdel test.
Mm.
I'm sure most of you know what the Bechdel test is. It's examines a work of fiction, and are there two women in a scene that are only talking about men? So, we kind of thought, well, where's the most ridiculous place two women could be fighting over some guy? It was like, well, what if he was sent there to kill them? Because it's a horror satire. So that's the basis of it. And plus, I think it just came from us being tired of seeing women written the way they are. And, lots changing now, but traditionally, women's roles were written by men, and all they did was talk about men. And it's like, that's not what we talk about when we're together. That's like a very minimal part of the conversation. So, I thought for those of us who even like men, right? So, we did this over quarantine. We actually shot it February 2021 of this year. We did it over Valentine's weekend, and we turned it around fairly quickly, and started submitting it to festivals. And it was just supposed to be fun. And we just took inspiration from some of our favorite horror movies like Scream and Jennifer's Body, which is like such a great satire that like just went over people's heads at the time because they just weren't ready for it, you know?
Mhm.
So yeah, this was just a fun project that we decided to do, and I didn't know what was going to come of it. And it's getting really great reviews, and obviously we're so excited to be a part of this festival. And we're
Great to
also,
have you as well.
yeah, no, so excited. Well, I was a judge last year, which was cool. I got to work with you all on some another festival you were doing, which was so nice. And so yeah, and we're premiering our LA premieres at Screamfest. We
Nice.
were asked to premiere our film there at the Mandarin Chinese Theater
Oh, beautiful.
October 13th. For anyone that's in LA, I would love to see you there. So yeah, no, it's getting a good response. We're super excited, and it was just a fun thing we wanted to put together, and just kind of highbrow, kind of fun, like just smart humor, and witty and complicated female characters, and that's all the stuff I love to do.
Oh, nice. Sounds like it was you guys had a lot of fun um doing it together. And how was it filming during COVID, and if you had any challenges that you'd like to share with us?
Sure. I haven't stopped filming over COVID.
Mm,
I've been filming the entire time. I did two documentary series and tons of commercials. It never stopped for me. Thankfully, I was very lucky for that. But this was a very small crew. It
mhm.
was all of our friends. It was a friend's house we shot in. It was the only way we could really make it happen. Uh,
Okay.
was by keeping it really small, keeping it contained, and being in a place, shooting in a place where it was a friend's home where we were allowed to be, because we had to do a very long overnight, because we shot this all in one weekend, and not just a weekend, we shot it in one overnight.
Oh, wow.
Crazy. um, we had like one pickup day, and that was it, with the killer. So yeah, it was very aggressive, but I think my commercial background kind of helped me move fast, which was great. But yeah, no, we obviously like take safety really seriously. Everyone, all of my crew is vaccinated, as am I. We get tested regularly, and we of course get tested before every shoot, and so that way and we're masked and face shields, everything, just to keep everyone safe. But no, I mean, I've gotten kind of used to it. So it wasn't that. And I like the smaller crews because you can move faster, um, and you can keep it going, and you can keep people safe. So
Oh,
those were the main points for
oh,
us.
great. So if you guys could just tell us any projects that you're currently working on and your social media so that you guys can connect and people can follow you as well, your journey. Susan?
Yes. So you guys could follow me and I'll follow you on Instagram at Suzanne Lenz. And I have a website, suzannelenz.net/Christmas Eve, which has more information about the film, the short film. And then coming up, I'm going to be, I just wrapped up a feature film that we shot during COVID called Every Man for Himself, which is written and directed by Gary Gardner.
Oh,
And I produced
congratulations.
it, and I'm in it. Thank you. And so hopefully that will be on the festival circuit this upcoming year, this next year. So thank
Great.
you guys again for having us.
Oh, of course. Dale?
Yeah, so you can find me I have two websites. One of them is my name, www.dalegriffithstamos.com. And the other one is my production website, which is Venice Sky Prods.com. So Venice Sky Productions, Venice Sky Prods.com. And that has trailers on it for all 6 of my films. It also has information about my playwriting, which I'm continuing to do. And as far as future projects, I seem to be moving out of the short format and into feature and full length. So I've been working on actually 3 different full-length plays, which I've been doing readings of during COVID, so Zoom readings. And I am also working on a feature-length screenplay, and just trying to get those out there. And I have a team of a couple of women that I work with that we're hoping to maybe co-produce the screenplay. So that's what's coming up.
Awesome. And Treese?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at TVisions. That's TEAVISIONZ. And currently I have no projects that I'm working on, but I'm hoping to get out of my little writer's rut and hopefully can get back to writing and creating.
Thank you. Delara?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at dilara.sanbilgin. It's my name and my surname. And you can find our short film, Lissa, at Lissa Short Film on Instagram. And right now I'm working on another short that I'm writing. It's going to be about a friendship between a young adult babysitter and a 6-year-old boy. It's going to have some fantastical realism elements in it. And I'm also working on a feature-length script based on my experiences being an immigrant in Los Angeles and living by myself. And that's how that creates, its own challenges, its own cultural shock. And so that's about it for now. But thank you so much for having us and giving us an opportunity to share our films.
Of course. Thank you so much for submitting. Wonderful. And Ali?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Ali Roberto. My website is AlisonRoberto.com. We have an IMDb page for Girls Night In. And since then, I've shot another short documentary about feminism and punk, which has been really fun. We just wrapped that up, and we're shopping that for a full feature, which I'm very excited about. My writing partner and I have another series we're working on called Misfits, and it's a young group of girls in the early 2000s in East Los Angeles that we're very excited about. And I do tons of commercials and music videos, so that's not stopping. I'm shooting one tomorrow. I'm shooting a commercial tomorrow and a music video on Friday.
Staying busy.
Pretty much.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And thank you for sharing your journey, providing us more information into your films. Thank you for having your projects in our film festival. And we look forward to seeing what your journey is in the future. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank you.